There's no way. It's way too much damage. Stop him with the block! He fell off charge.
Oh, and he found
wow.
Wow.
Oh,
And he gets out!
Somewhere there's a covert muffin just applauding this seed.
Holy crap.
Oh man, this is gonna come down to execution in the final escape, isn't it?
Sure is.
Every seed
Our
does.
favorite phrase. Welcome in everyone to the Ori and the Blind Forest Randomizer Tournament 2021. We are kicking off today's matches with a second round bracket match between our runners today, Foopyo versus the person who died, and the winner will go on to face DG. I am Madinsay, and today I am joined by Roos on commentary. Roos, do you want to dive straight into talking about our runners?
There, thanks for the introduction. Good to be here. So we have two fairly highly seeded players here. Person who died seeded slightly higher, but they're both very experienced. So depending on the seed goes, we could definitely see this go either way. Person is just a rando player, so very focused on knowing how to navigate these seeds, and does play on keyboard and mouse, and seems to like puzzle games. And I can definitely see sort of the crossover between puzzle games and figuring out randomizer seeds. So it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, from chatting to both of our runners before the race, both of them very much made the explicit point to say that they're concerned about grenade jump seed, which makes sense as Foopyo is a controller user instead of the keyboard and mouse that the person uses, which can make a few differences, and we'll bring them up if they become relevant. And I think Foopyo is a little bit concerned about this race being one of those where you get a skill set and you think that you can go and finish the game, but then turns out you actually need one more health or such. So there's a little bit of concern there, but hopefully we'll see some excellent play from both runners, and it's what we're hoping and expecting to see from these.
Yeah, very, very excited to see how this one goes. And like you said, both of them are very concerned about grenade jumps. So in our traditional commentary game of what the first progression item is going to be, I, with my slightly cruel streak, hope that it's grenade just to scare them a little bit and hope that they see those grenade jumps early on.
You know, I'll go with that, but then I'll say starting off with grenade, but then suddenly it goes into a grenade bash seed, and then it's like a grenade jump seed, but not really.
Well, we'll most likely definitely be seeing person preferring that if we do get grenade and bash, just because keyboard and mouse has slight advantages when it comes to moving around with those. But very experienced controller runners like Foopyo should hopefully be able to keep up just fine.
It's like a very traditional keystone start for now. Just the most common start. Just 2 keystones will get them into the main glades area. Maybe we'll find something more exciting soon.
Yeah, and I don't know about you, but when I do randomizer seeds, I definitely like seeing these multiple keystone starts just because I like the chance to get to go off to the left first. I've never particularly liked going into Blackroot immediately. I always prefer to be able to come back there with a more robust skill set, so you don't just have to slowly trudge through there with base abilities.
Yeah, absolutely. It comes down to very much runner preference. Lots of runners will prefer going deep into glades, and there's certain runners that are very, very notorious for liking to always go down the Blackroot way no matter what happens. But we'll see the runners will be forced to go and check these last couple pickups here and hope that something is of use. Maybe we'll see, maybe it's a trick, maybe it's not actually a 2 keystones start, and maybe this is going to be Swamp TP. No, okay, it's 2 keystone start.
All right, so we do know for a fact that we will be able to continue off to the left here. There is one more pickup that could still be a skill or a teleporter. Let's see what it is. It is a 3rd keystone even, so maybe even signaling that we need to continue on into Sunken Glade or Caverns or something like that. Definitely lacking on the skills so far, though.
We did see a person, it took took an extra hit of damage before going through that section, but then was saved, bailed out by a lucky health drop from the slime, being able to still do the fake flippers, which is very fortunate. We'll see if Person's luck can continue going throughout this randomizer, or whether or not that will be the end of the game bailing out.
All right, both of these runners were able to turn in their first map stone. Those are progressive checks. It just matters what order you do them in. Finding Charge Flame, so that's going to give them the ability to break blue plants and walls. Notably for them right now, that means they can get up sort of to the area of the Charge Flame tree, although without wall interaction, they can't actually get up to it. I think that's just one check there that they can do. But gonna be glad to have the ability to break blue objects pretty soon.
Well, the seed so far is feeding our runners a healthy diet of keystones and more keystones. So there's unfortunately not really been much else that you want to see, especially going down into this wall jump tree area where there's 2 extra pickups here that ideally you'd be able to check, and are very awkward to backtrack to, but the runners have absolutely no way of getting it, so they're just going to have to check the tree. It's just an ability cell, then they're going to have to altar out.
This is very unfortunate. Like you said, orphaning these checks is very bad because, especially unless you get like dash or something, it's going to take a long time to get back down there. The fact that they pretty much just have to like go and check this pickup behind the Charge Flame wall here, and then may have to backtrack once again down there is potentially going to be pretty nasty for them. Although because it has been such a linear seed, we're seeing like basically lockstep between these two players. No advantage opened up whatsoever here.
Yes, this is going to be what's next, and it's Climb. It's a Climb Sea Flame seed. What is not exactly the most popular of seed variety within the community, but it is certainly unlock a lot of different pickups, and not exactly fast either.
Yeah, very diplomatic of you to phrase it that way. I would call it kind of like a garbage start. Basically, they do have pickups that are available, but they're very slow to get to, and they still have a lot of like very unpleasant ones to get to. Like they could go all the way back to that wall jump tree to check that one off. They can go into Blackroot and have to do it the very slow way, including maybe having to do climb ramps to get up to that one pickup that's by the orb's initial spawn position. Things like that. Looks like Person is deciding to go off. This is probably going to be a Spirit Caverns check. This is totally reasonable. There's like 4 or 5 pickups in there. Maybe gonna duck down and do maybe prevent these checks from becoming too orphaned. I'm just gonna try and do all this now rather than risk that being something important like bash or dash down here.
I like this setup from Person. He's placed down a quick save, so that if all of these pickups end up just being completely useless, you can skip the backtrack out of it and just go back to the Soul Link. It's a very nice, efficient route if it works out, which so far nothing particularly of use. Oh, but
That's
drops
unfortunate.
down, misses the map, so it's gonna have to loop all the way around, do this awkward jump again with Climb, trying to grab this ledge here. Just got to get the right position on the jump. Very precise jump, manages to get it again. And Foopyo is also doing a very precise trick here.
Yeah, this is a bit of an out of logic check, but definitely worth doing while you're here. He's trying to get into a ledge that you can just barely stand on so that he can get up here with Climb and check it. It is just a keystone. Meanwhile, Person over on the right did get the Grove teleporter, which definitely could become relevant progression. It's definitely going to mean that he doesn't have to spend the 4 keystones in Spirit Caverns to get out through that door, which is always nice.
Yeah, we'll see if he chooses to keep it. It looks like he is going to, instead of reloading at that save. But that drop down is meaning that it's lost a fair bit of time. But Person is deciding to not go into Spirit Caverns and instead go to the teleporter. We could see going through Grove. We could see going into Blackroot as well. I'm not sure which. Find out in a moment. Looks like going for Grove.
Getting some more divergence, nice. I think this is a reasonable check. There's a lot of stuff that having blue breakage in the sort of valley entrance area allows you to do. And if you find some useful skills like charge jump or something, it's going to speed up your black route quite a bit. I do want to draw a little bit of attention to the fact that person did check that one orphaned pickup by the wall jump tree, and it was just a keystone. So a lot of time invested in that for no real payoff. Now that said, Foopyo doesn't know that there was nothing there. So he definitely is going to have to be thinking about that and wondering, oh, okay, at what point do I have to go back and check that? Because it was so early in logic, like there's definitely a good chance that there was something important there.
Well, Foopyo is taking on one of the most awkward, precise, painful tricks in the entire Randomizer run, which is this sequence of climb ramps, which is it's so incredibly precise that it almost feels like, or is RNG, depending on who you ask, of the positioning that you get. But wall jump from person, not quite what they were looking for, really, but it's somewhat nice to have. Makes a few
It'll
tricks
definitely
a
make
little
some
bit easier.
movement a little bit easier and cleaner for them. That said, when you're getting skills at this point, you want something a little more powerful that, especially when you already had wall interaction, that's not quite what they were looking for. So this seed definitely off to a very slow start so far. Lots of just like plain pickups and skills that don't actually like give them all that much power just yet.
Yeah, and we see person taking the steps of Foopyo here, going through the spirit caverns, cleaning up these checks. I think this is a pretty good idea. This area is very dense, very full of pickups, and they're all pretty easy to get, and they're not that much faster later on either. If you end up with lots of other skill sets, climb is pretty fast at moving up walls, despite what it may seem. The climb is actually a surprisingly quick method of movement.
All right, so we're just going to be kind of scouring a few pickups here and there as they become convenient until we find our next big progression. Now, something is going to blow this seed open soon. It's going to be, charge jump or double jump type, something that's going to give them the ability to greatly widen the area that they can search right now, because there's a lot of areas they'd like to be searching right now that are very dense on pickups, and they're really right now just kind of being forced to check a lot of these slower, uncomfortable ones.
Yeah, I'm trying to think through which pickup I'm guessing it might be, and I'm currently thinking that the pickup just before the boulder escape, because you've got the wall jump, you've got the climb, and you've got the charge flame. You can get to that pickup because of the wall jump. So I'm hoping that something like that, or person is able to do this jump up to this pickup a lot easier than Foopyo with the wall jump. Saves a whole bunch of time there.
All right, so let's keep our eye on the left-hand side for just a minute here. It looks like person is mostly going to be following along into Black Root, but Foopyo is going to be getting into some new territory here, continuing down below the dash tree here. Now, only the first pickup down here is actually in logic with their current skill set. That said, it's very, very common for players to glitch out the boulder with a save glitch and continue to check the rest of it anyway, because there's not a lot of other more convenient times to do it while you're down here. So not super uncommon for there to actually end up being some out of logic progression while you're down there. Now, Foopyo does have to do a different setup to get up this wall here, involving backflipping onto the wall like that. Very clean. That was super, super well done there. Very nice.
Sadly, just experience, nothing of use so far. Runners are very much running out of pickups, and very much running out of dense areas to check. In fact, they're probably completely out of dense areas to check. They maybe have valley entry that they can check.
I believe they can go through Spider Sack by going up from, or no, they have the Grove teleporter. They can go to the right from there and get up to the Spider Sack area because they do have blue breakage.
Yeah, I believe they'd have to go down and pull the lever for that, which will be a little awkward for Foopy, as Foopyo does not have the wall jump, so I have to do yet another micro ledge, or I guess big ledge, as that one's not really a micro ledge, to get to the lever. But we'll see what Foopyo decides to do. Of course, Foopyo does not know that the Grove TP is available, but does have the keystones. So we'll see if Foopyo decides to go straight down back to the wall jump area and clean up those checks, or whether or not decides to go up to Spirit Caverns and go through the keystone door there.
Now I'll tell you for sure, if I'm Foopyo and I'm in a seed that's kind of this claustrophobic, all I can think about is that one orphaned pickup behind wall jump and how that could very easily be the skill that's busting this wide open. And all I'd be thinking about is like, person has checked that and is already like 8 trees in and I'm way behind. So I would definitely be tempted to go and check that while you're in this area.
Foopyo is also going for this awkward climb jump. It's surprisingly easier with climb than with wall jump, but absolutely is not easy at all. Foopyo decides after doing that, we'll then go for the whole boulder push instead of doing the damage boost that we saw Person do earlier.
Pretty reasonable at his current health because he only has climb and not wall jump. I think do you have to take 2? You can get through with just 1 hit on that with climb,
I
but
think
you know,
it's very difficult to do with 1 HP damage. So it's a sensible choice. Foopyo getting the Grove TP. Both runners are very, very similar sets of things. The wall jump being the only real difference. But of course, Foopyo now has the Grove TP, can go over there and get it. But will that actually make the big difference finding this? I highly doubt it, but we'll have to see what actually the progression is, because at the moment there are things that they can get, but it's all so incredibly slow and painful to get.
Despite our divergences, I think we've pretty much locked in on it having to be the spider sack area here. Foopyo can go and check valley entry here, and we'll get wall jump, but then after that, I think pretty much is just going to have to go right from here. And I think we're going to see Person head over there and continue that direction immediately.
Yeah, so we saw Foopyo use the Grove TP to get to the teleporter, and then since Foopyo was facing right, it was able to actually not get into the cutscene, but then decided, you know what, maybe I do want this cutscene after all. Decided to go back in, clean out the cutscene, which will allow Foopyo to continue over to the right, and also be able to save on the teleporter, restoring energy.
Oh, that's an unfortunate death for Person there. So this is a nasty little section to have to check. This is a part that is expected to be done later in the game, so these little slimes that drop down and blow up do quite a bit of damage, and doing this little climb up here is not trivial with their current skill set. It's a little bit tricky. So looks like Person is just going to decide to bail on that. It's just the one pickup over there that's being left behind. Looks like going to continue on to the right over to Spider Sack, and I think maybe the early game routing from Person was just slightly more efficient, and so I think he had pulled just a little bit ahead, but with the time loss from those deaths right there, I think we've basically synced up in the seed. They've checked about the same stuff and are now going to do the same thing once again.
Yeah, absolutely. They're both just following in each other's footsteps throughout this whole race so far. Both have the same skills, the same trees, the same teleporters. They've pretty much the exact same state, just with maybe 10 seconds difference between them at the moment. Which could
All right,
easily...
we are now getting into some new territory. Runners are very much hoping to see some green text here shortly. As far as our dungeon keys, we have just seen the one clue for Sunstone being in Ginso, I believe, so no chance they're going to be able to get that anytime soon. What these runners are definitely hoping for is they get that water vein clue on their second clue rather than their third one, so they don't have to blindly hunt for it for quite so long.
Yeah, definitely. There's always a bit of a pain to have to do the mind games with the rando, trying to figure out whether or not it's going to place it in Misty or somewhere horrible that you're going to have to backtrack through if you don't get the clues in the right places. But we have the forlorn teleporter from Person.
Yeah, that is an interesting pickup. If this seed wants to continue to troll really hard, that's definitely one of the ways that it can do it, is require a pretty extensive Forlorn dip. That is an area you don't want to have to go as a rando player because there's just no trees in that area. That's not the kind of area you want to have to be going to. But, you know, if they start to clear out this area and don't have much more to check, you know, that starts to become an area that you need to be thinking about for sure.
Currently, it is not in logic because they do not have the Gumon seal, and they do need the Gumon seal for it to actually be placed into logic and not just be a spooky, ominous option for the staring at them the whole time. So hopefully, well, I guess it depends who you're rooting for, whether or not you're rooting for the rando or the runners here. If you're rooting for the runners, you're certainly hoping to not have to suffer through the pain of Forlorn with the orb.
All right, if one of these runners really wanted to get chat on their side, they would just do Iceless here. I suspect we will most likely not be seeing that from either one of these runners, just because that trick is awful. Then there's lots of stuff still in logic to check here.
There is nothing good to come out of that besides pain, and maybe some time save if they're fast enough, but it is certainly not necessary for their path through this. They still have plenty they can do.
If you want a good example of how sort of how difficult this seed has been in this starting section here, both of these runners in their pre-race interviews talked about rushing trees and being like, you know, fairly like with the way that they approach seeds is they like to push trees as much as possible. And despite that, we're still seeing them both deviate over to Horu Fields there to take time to check that one-off pickup, just because there's been so little progression over the 20 minutes that we've played already. And so like they're both just like, I'm not letting any pickups go by. You know, any one of those could be the thing that I need to finally get like into this seed properly. And you know, the trees are going to have to come later.
Yeah, and they're also just trying to do as much as possible to set up for later, grabbing the swamp TP, which will come in useful for the end. But then, of course, since they still lacking so many skills, they have to push the rock all the way back again to be able to climb up on the ledge. Everything is going slow. It's a very comfortable seed. Not much happens. Maybe hoping for a bit more speed, but at the moment it's just a relaxing, serene experience walking through the swamp.
Goodness gracious, yeah, this seed is something else. I mean, there have been seeds in this tournament where the runners are like in go mode, pushing their last few trees this early into the run, and now you know we're still like barely even getting started here. We have 3 trees total, no dungeon keys, barely any skills whatsoever, and these runners have just had to just painfully slowly walk through checking all of these things.
Yeah, we even have some very exciting experience amounts to cheer them up. We have a whopping 3 experience, a lesser known partner to 2 experience and 1 experience. We have a regular experience dropped from enemies. But what if you're in this seed, Roos? What do you think about how you lay out your abilities, your skill tree? Where do you think you would be heading, and where do you think the runners will be heading themselves through the skill tree?
As far as leveling up the skills tree is concerned, I'm probably not the best person to ask. I am pretty basic when it comes to my trees. I just always go up the green skill tree, hoping to at least get to charge dash. Once I've got that, then I maybe start going towards purple, towards sense. But we've seen some very interesting things be done with runners in this tournament, involving going straight up the purple tree first. And I'm not familiar enough with either of these 2 runners to know if one of them favors one or the other. That said, this seed has been so slow and garbage that I could definitely see an argument for going for sense, just to like, when you're this slow, being able to say, I don't need to bother with that check, I know it's not important, that can definitely really add up.
Yeah, and it looks like currently our runners are saying we want to just keep hold of these ability points, maybe desperately hoping that they'll be getting dash or something that actually uses ability points to make use of them, but holding on just in case, and also being able to use them for tricks like we see on Foopyo's screen of being able to hop up with the momentum from the cutscene over to the other side and get an extra couple of pickups that you wouldn't normally be able to get. Which of course very much is not in logic because it requires a save anywhere, but it's definitely worth checking in these kinds of scenarios.
Now, Person would have won my heart forever if he had stopped and leveled up Charge Flame Burn to check that plant above the Death Gauntlet roof that he was doing. He tried blowing it up a few times, but I believe with just the default range of Charge Flame, you can't actually reach it unless you have more verticality. But I think with Charge Flame Burn, you can reach it from just a single jump. And that would have been amazing to see.
Oh, the health cell for Foopyo. Oh, but it lands on spikes and it's trapped in a cutscene. But a health cell, that's a incredibly nice thing to have when you only have 3 HP. Foopyo deciding to leave it for now, maybe come back for it later. But this seed has been so horribly resource starved. They have had barely any skill points, they had barely any health, barely any energy, and this just like, of course, the only reason that Foopyo had so much energy there and Person Who Died has so much energy at the moment is because of a mega energy. It's not actual permanent energy that's it's gone the moment you use it, and Foopyo has used it in this door here. It gets another energy cell. So the resource starving is just such an underrated problem to have in these seeds of being like, oh, the last time I saved was about 10 minutes ago, and I haven't found anything useful since then.
Something nerve-wracking about playing a seed like this is like, so it's going horribly for you, but you can't see the other runner. It is really easy to catastrophize a bit and think, oh man, they checked the one thing that gave them everything in this seed. Like they're so far ahead, and I'm just sitting here looking like an idiot. And like, so we know watching them that they're basically completely tied, checking all the same stuff. But it's very easy to panic in this situation and think that you're just missing something.
Yeah, definitely. Both runners are just very much doing pretty much the exact same things, just in a slightly different order, and just being able to. Oh no, no, there we go. There's the Gumon seal. That's it's full on opened up.
So that does mean that foreign teleporter is in logic. Oh, there's the Sunstone. Okay. Oh, did I misread the clue earlier? I thought Sunstone was in Ginso. I guess it said Grotto. Okay, so nice that they found that. That's a check that you're going to make in basically every seed. Like, it's guaranteed the runners would have found that. Almost certainly. So now we're just worried about that water vein as far as our dungeon keys are concerned.
Yeah, it's nice to have two of the keys out of the way early, but of course it could still be that the clue for water vein is on the tree number 9 instead of tree number 6, as it can show clues of keys you already have.
Now, if this seed wants to really be nasty, we have access to Forlorn. It can also put some pretty nasty things in Mount Horu now that we have access to it as well. We can't get there through Horu Fields just yet, but it could give us maybe one skill and then start putting important stuff in Horu. And I like seeing jet seeds and all, but it's gotten to the point now where I'm rooting for this seed to be as awful as humanly possible. I want to see dips into Forlorn and Mount Horu both.
Yeah, and we're seeing Foopyo skip out on the mini boss here, which I think is interesting. I didn't see if Person did the same, but
Person did also skip it. Neither one of them checked it.
Skipping out on this mini boss, it is a very slow pickup to get, but at this point you've got to be thinking literally any one pickup could just completely open up the seed. So it could be anything. That could be the key, but since they both skipped it, it's not going to be something they're going to want to come back for, and it's probably going to have to mean that they're going to need something useful and forlorn here.
My general rule of thumb is if I have a way to speed up the fight, I like to check it. And these runners do have Charge Flame that can redirect the boss's shot back at it. So, me personally, I definitely would have checked it. But that said, it is still a slow pickup. I understand why these runners are kind of in a hurry to, get to more dense areas.
Yeah, and a person making the way through Forlorn. So far, nothing critical has been in here, but there's still lots more to check, and you can check basically everything in here. There's like one pickup that you can't check, just because of the power of the orb doing some fancy strats. There is Stomp. That's not what I expected to be the next skill that they find.
That opens a number of things that's larger than zero, but it's definitely not as large as they would have hoped for, I think. They definitely wanted to see charge jump or bash, I think. Something or dash, one of those real power skills.
Does that? Let's see. What does this actually assist with? Is it Lost Grove? Is that the key? Is are they being told to go down to lower Blackroot, hunting through there? Is that maybe what the seed wants? Who knows? And person continuing on. There's still chance for the seed to redeem itself. At least partially, maybe not entirely, redeem itself. Getting these extra few pickups here.
Oh goodness gracious! I've been able to watch these runners, and I am not even 100% sure where they need to go at this point. Having to like play and still think of this at the same time has to be very mentally taxing. So big props to these runners to have held it together as well as they have so far.
Yeah, and we haven't really seen the runners like doing lots of retracing their steps or like running over where they've already been a lot. So they've still, even with like how slow this skill set is and how limited their resources are, they've still been able to plan it out their route pretty well.
I'm just so tired of seeing the experience pick up every time they check something. They're not even getting cells; they're just getting experience and small amounts of experience. Goodness gracious! Whoever rolled this seed definitely needs to ask the runners permission before rolling them on the next race after this, because this is incredible.
Oh, and Foopyo is also going for it's going to be only painful pickups from here on out. Foopyo going up the glide vault for the health cell, and it's a map stone. Maybe the key is actually it's going to be the progression is on a map stone. Maybe that's it's mapstone 4 or something is the key, or maybe. Or maybe it's going to be something with Stomp. Person deciding to check this. Don't know if he can actually do this. Maybe he can.
This I think this is way too much damage, as they like to say. Oh no, with health regen, able to make it. Very nice. Proving me wrong. Okay, let's keep our eyes on the left-hand side for just a second. Foopyo is checking this mini-boss pickup that person who died decided to skip. Should be coming up here shortly. Are we seeing green text? No, just another keystone. Oh my god.
But maybe person has cracked the code, just skipping far ahead. No, never mind.
Nope.
Absolutely nothing of use.
Okay, so do we need to call a referee? Did we accidentally roll a master seed without realizing it? This certainly is looking like a master seed here.
There's still possible pickups left. We're not out of options left, but the options are becoming more and more painful the longer the seed goes on. At least the 4 energy means that we can open up these 4 energy doors. Maybe one of them will have something useful. I mean, it could be Glazer. Maybe it's Glazer.
It could also be. It can also be back at Valley Entry. You remember those pickups that person tried to check and died to the kamikaze slimes? That's still unchecked at this point. And man, if that's actually what it was, they're going to be kicking themselves so hard, because that was available so much earlier than this.
Yeah, and person's doing a teleport. Has had enough of Grove. We'll see where he's going. I'm kind of hoping that we see person sneaking off to Black Root, as that's where I'm currently thinking the seeds planning. Foopyo maybe doesn't know that Forlorn is actually placed into Logic, seeing very delayed, or maybe he's just reluctant to go there. It's also understandable. We'll see what, but the stomp could be the key here. There could be something that is one of the very few but painful. Well, there we go. Just as I was saying, Foopyo has gone over to Forlorn, is going to start the trek through, and is eventually going to find the stomp pickup. I don't think
Outside of that stomp, though, we do pretty much know there's not anything crucial over here. I think person didn't check the stuff around the forlorn escape, so that's, I think, can they do just the one check over there right now with this current skill set?
I don't think they can get over there. I'm pretty sure they can't get all the way over there. I think they need at least some other skills to get to the stomp block pickups over there.
The truck is confirming the escape is in logic right now, which would be an incredible place to hide progression here.
That's certainly. I guess that could be a thing. That's pretty disgusting if that's the case. I don't think there's any other way to. Oh, paid Foopyo. The death at the end of the loop has no way of getting back. Has to go all the way back around. But it's so slow to do. But with this little health in this area, it's just full of annoying enemies. It just takes ages to do everything. Very much suiting the snow and cold theme.
We are drawing a lot of attention to the lack of skills here, but they are 34 minutes in and still on 3 health. I've never seen this in a seed before. That is, they've found a health cell, but neither of them actually kept it because it was kind of nasty to get back out of. But even outside of that, I think we've seen maybe one other health cell as well that neither runner actually ended up keeping. This is incredible.
They have a max of 5 at the moment. I think Foopyo has 4 base health at the moment, and has decided to skip out on one of them. Maybe is regretting that choice now. The person who died is very happy to see that health, so you don't always see runners so excited for for such trivial pickups like health cells this late into the run, especially when they're not even close to any form of go mode here.
All right, I'm all in on the valley entry being where the progression is here. I think at that point, I think at this point we don't have that many other places to check. I've got a good feeling about it.
Grotto TP from Mapstone 4. Never mind. There is no progression here. There's only more mocking to be done by the randomizer today.
Goodness gracious, I think that's all the Mapstone altars they can even get to right now.
Is that possibly? There might be one more that they can get to. I'm not sure. No, I don't think they can get to the inside swamp one. 3PO checking these last few pickups here. Of course, we knew from person checking that this isn't anything useful, but person is checking the pickups that I wanted to see. The Grove pickups. All of these are so slow to do, but they're in logic. They're an option. So perhaps this is the way.
Interesting. A lot of very large damage boosts here and having to duck under some lasers, so it's taking quite a while to get through this area here. I'm really curious which of them is going to remember to check the rest of Valley entry first.
I'm not convinced this ability cell is in logic. It's pretty sure this is 1 damage boost too many to get it, but it is a health cell. Person will definitely take that. So it's not Grove. So what more do we have to check yet? Valley is an option. Maybe there's some one-offs like like swamp, the Triforce, any ability cell is an option. Very much running out of ideas. Foopyo is had enough and is deciding, you know what, I'm gonna go grab this tree over here. Don't know how reasonable this will be to do. I believe doing this with the current skill set is, in fact, incredibly difficult and precise to make it through these lasers here and do
Like
the
he's gonna
jump at the
double
top.
zombie. Interesting. Yeah, this is very difficult, and I would like to point out he seems to be going up the purple tree, which could be indicating that he wants to go towards sense. Oh,
This is the painful bit, is trying to do that last jump over the laser, is decides, nope, I am out. Ends up wasting the ability cells, not getting anything out of it. Person who died checking a new pickup, and it's Dash.
Ooh, that is
Wow.
large. That is finally something that's going to allow person to do something in this seed. Just suddenly be able to move around much quicker. Can go up the green tree to get to rocket jumps, which will give them some very much needed verticality. And you can see he instantly opens that green ability wheel and starts to go up to charge dash to get some of that powerful rocket jump verticality. We have to really hope Foopyo goes there soon, because if person gets to keep dash alone for very long, that is going to be a crushing advantage for him.
Okay, and now the question is, but what does Dash help with? Because Dash, as powerful as a skill it is not something that actually opens very much in Logic. This is certainly an area that is opened by Dash. As this person is now going to check over here into Grove, see if he can get this tree here and maybe some pickups, using that rocket jump to get past what Foopyo couldn't. But Foopyo maybe going for the escape play. This is an exciting one to see. I hadn't even considered that this one was a possibility, really.
This is going to be very interesting to see.
Can you even reach this? Seems very difficult to do.
Oh, the timing on this looks gnarly. I've never actually done this with just this skill set. It is apparently in Logic, though.
This might be one of those that gets reviewed afterwards of whether or not this is in Logic. This should be in Logic.
Probably have to do the other half of the laser cycle, like wait until they've crisscrossed over and you catch them like while they're out at their widest point.
Yeah, it's certainly a possibility. Foopyo says, nope, I've had enough. I'm going to check other things. Maybe we'll see the... Oh, there's your guess. The Valley pickup was not, in fact, of any use.
Oh, just double keystones. Very, very unfortunate. Okay, so it turns out it was not Valley entry. Now with this dash pickup, you know, even though we haven't opened up any large new areas, person is going to be able to clear out those last few remaining one-offs much more efficiently here.
Yeah, I'm very much struggling to think of what's left, and the possibly running out of ideas, but still going. But person's checking the map is maybe very much unsure, just like the rest of us, of what on earth could the seed be plotting now.
Oh, chat just pointed out glades are still available. That's definitely a possibility, and has been for a good long while as well.
They have the verticality to be able to get to it. Oh, Foopyo gets the dash pickup. That's good, and person has not been able to really get much out of the much earlier dash pickup at the moment. So they're back on skill parity here.
Yeah, that's very good news for Foopyo. Yeah, even though person did have dash for longer, he didn't make any particularly big progress with it, and I think this seed has been like bad enough and locked up enough that it's not going to end up really like deciding the race or anything like that. It's very much just going to come down to how these two players execute the rest of it. Oh my goodness, the iceless play would have worked! I said iceless!
Right, well, unfortunately, this seed has been cursed by the Iceless gang. and it would have actually been a great assistance. And now you can have your Glazer. That's now absolutely an available play. Maybe they don't want it to be, but it certainly is. And we're getting closer to like a very questionable attempt at a go mode here, but probably not one that the runners might want to go for. Probably still going to keep trying to search for something. But at least double jump actually opens a lot more pickups into logic, although they could get to a lot of them already with rocket jumps. But double jump is just such a nice comfort skill to have.
Yeah, I'd say like once you have like dash plus charge dash and double jump, like as far as your ability to just move around the map well, that's like your bread and butter right there. Those two skills are huge for your just traversal of the area. Obviously, they still want bash, they still want charge jump, but these runners, especially people this experienced, are going to be super comfortable with zooming around the map with this type of skill set here.
Absolutely, and we'll maybe see whether or not the runners are starting to think, maybe with this skill set, with how ridiculously starved the seed is, maybe I should start actually zooming for. And there we go. The key has been found. Person who died on bash.
That I think should open up everything for them that they need at this point. The last thing that they're waiting for is their water vein in order to go into the last tree. Remind me, have we seen the clue for water vein just yet?
I do not believe that we have, but this is absolutely a situation in which you've just got to start going for things. Like, really, you really just got to start going for the end with a seed this starved that finding the stomp in Forlorn ended up being a critical thing to then find dash, to find double jump. It certainly was a seed. Happened.
Yeah, and we don't want to necessarily call it just yet. There's a lot left, but unless... Oh, sorry, I have to interrupt myself. Foopyo just found Glide over near the Charge Flame Tree. Definitely not nearly as good as finding that bash, but is pretty good as well. I mean, you can finish a lot of seeds bashless, especially when you have a lot of the other good skills, but having bash is just going to be so powerful for going quickly in the rest of this seed here. But yeah, I would definitely want to emphasize person is in the driver's seat here, definitely does have an advantage, but it is not over just yet.
Absolutely not, especially as that glide pickup could be very important. With the amount of health that they have, getting through the actual sorrow area and just general movement is a little bit less comfortable with not having the glide, and so that can certainly be a risk for the person if Foopyo manages to find the bash or the double jump fairly quickly, then that could be enough to even things out. But at the moment, Foopyo is making these still going for these really slow one-off pickups. It's been pretty much the plague of this seed, trying to get this going for the escape, or maybe going right. Looks like it's actually going right here.
We'll probably do both of them while he's here. I think for Foopyo to get himself into this race, one of these pickups basically needs to be charge jump. That's gonna give him enough utility to be in go mode and to Winter Stored's kind of interesting with the glide he already has. He's got sort of a go mode going here and could start rushing these trees very much the same way that person is. It's just that person has the advantage of having bash.
Yeah, and bash is what an advantage it is. It's gonna save so much time, make so many things so much more comfortable. But person is still checking pickups. Maybe still thinking not that comfortable with current skill set and the current health, because there's certainly a lot of things that are missing. Particularly that glide really would definitely help out person a lot, but is not going to find that here, as we know where it is.
Yeah, and ironically, so Foopyo seems to be thinking I need to do a lot of checks to find those skills to let me be comfortable going to the end, and unfortunately, just trying to push trees would be his best bet to find those skills because we do know the bash is kind of on the way to the stomp tree, so it would be a good thing to start pushing those, and would find the bash that would certainly put him into go mode here.
Yeah, and Foopyo going back to full on. It's seemingly Foopyo's favorite area, this seed. Going back here again, this time gonna go for the escape. Maybe even go all the way. Depends how much Foopyo is interested in grenade, but there is still the possibility. I mean, with how this seed is gone, there is certainly the possibility for this seed to also actually be a grenade locked seed. And going through the escape would say where grenade is if that did become relevant.
That would certainly be one of the ways that Foopyo could get back into this seed is if the water vein is grenade locked and person takes ages to find grenade. Is starting the escape very interesting. Unlikely to actually do the whole thing, I imagine. We'll probably just save and quit after seeing if this is an important pickup or not, but we'll find out shortly.
Yeah, it's not skipping the cutscene, so might just saving and quitting. Or might be saying I want to make sure that I keep the escape as an option. It's a keystone. Full-on escape will not bail anyone out today, or at least not yet. Maybe go all the way through. Doesn't seem to have tried to quit out yet. Is gonna go for the escape. That's certainly a bold move, going for that grenade clue.
I definitely am not surprised to see this too much, just because this seed has been so awful, especially from Foopyo's point of view. You know, person at this point has basically gotten out of the bad part and just has to push to the end. But for Foopyo, still, this skill set is still unpleasant, and the seed still feels pretty awful. So, you know, just taking the time to check absolutely everything, get all the information you can, it makes sense. It's a reasonable play.
Yeah, now we see person taking on the Glideless Sorrow, one of the very difficult things to deal with. Not having a lot of the skills that you really want to have for this section, and certainly very starved on energy as well. This is becoming a big problem. Grenade is
You see where horror? Oh my god!
No, it's the gamble has. Well, now you know what. Now I'm really hoping for a grenade lock seed, because that will make this very exciting. Yeah.
All right, so grenade locked water vein with grenade being just like so deep into horror that they end up having to do like 7 or 8 rooms. That's what we want to see here. Let's push this to a 2-hour seed.
Yeah, I mean, the runners have already suffered a lot, so why not keep it coming? Is seemingly the philosophy we're gonna go for here. Person is still just keeping on going up and down this shaft. Like, a very difficult thing to do is maybe gonna try and do the zombie strats. Is very much got problems with the energy. Is gonna decide to go for the tumbleweed, one of my favorite objects in the game. This lovely little tumbleweed is bashable, double bashable, and is going to be a wonderful vehicle. No, oh, no, it's escaped. You can't leave it. No, but you've got to keep the tumbleweed with you. It's pretty awkward to do this. You've got to keep the tumbleweed. You've got to make sure the frog's out the way, and then you've got to carefully double bash this tumbleweed that loses all concept of physics the moment that you double bash it one time, and is no longer interested in collision with Ori. You've got to get that all the way through this spike cave, barely taking any damage in the process. Is actually stopped by some spirit light. I did not know the spirit light was capable of doing that, but apparently it is. It's
now,
very kind.
This is taking kind of a while, and Foopyo did just find double jump and bash. So if person continues to struggle with this much longer, you know, Foopyo has glide for Sorrow. This race suddenly became a little bit closer than I think person is comfortable with here.
Yeah, of course, person doesn't know that, and person might be thinking, oh, Foopyo's found all of these skills way earlier, or maybe he's just fully focused on trying to do these sequence of difficult tricks to get through. I mean, even if it's not grenade locked, having the water vein being in Sorrow could be an absolute disaster. Trying to get these things, especially with where the tumbleweed has been dropped off, could certainly cause a lot of problems. And now Foopyo has got the skill set ready to go. This is a much more comfortable skill set to go mode with. I'm sure Foopyo will have absolutely no complaints zooming around with this set.
Alright, so Foopyo has the better skill set, but Person is ahead by several trees. I think it's still safe to say Person is in the lead here. The big asterisk on that is where is that water vein? Because if it's back in Sorrow or if it's grenade locked, then we very much that's really big for Foopyo. Now, if it's someplace that's very easy for Person to get to, I think he should just be able to cruise ahead to the win, even with the slightly weaker skill set here.
Absolutely. So that's the concern, and we will be finding out what that clue will be on the Misty Tree. And Person.
Now, glideless Misty is not trivial either, especially with no charge jump. I think with this skill set, especially with the extra air dashes and stuff like that, Person should definitely be able to get through here, manage just fine. But, you know, glide is a very good comfort pickup for this area.
Yeah, having just picking up that triple jump as well. Triple jump is just going to be an excellent substitute for glide for this area. Because unlike Sorrow, it's not all about those wind shafts that are getting you in the air. It's just about glide being that thing to stall your time in the air, and double jump does that just as well, if not better in some cases.
We are seeing Foopyo definitely look like he is in rush trees mode here. He is going in through Valley, going to be grabbing Feather, and then presumably finishing up all the left side trees. Runners of this caliber, you definitely expect them to leave Misty for last when they don't have the water vein clue yet, just because then they know if they need to continue on to the back half. That is exactly what Person has done here. I expect to see Foopyo most likely do the same.
Okay, I like this play from Person going through with the frog. It's not going to be a disaster if he went the other way because of Stomp, but this is always something that's useful to get stuck on the frog with the charge dashes. But here we go. Water vein is in forest. Here we go. It's the seed that keeps on giving.
Incredible. Okay, so as trolly as that is, gameplay implications wise, I think that is actually good for Person, potentially, because I don't think there's nothing in there that's grenade locked, and knowing that grenade is in Horu is, well, I guess they're going to be in Horu anyway, so they might just find grenade. I think overall that's still good news for Person, even though it's bad news for the fact that he has to play the rest of this seed out.
Yeah, I think this is, in fact, one of the few times in which you're glad to see Water Vein and Horu, with the lack of the glide making a huge difference there, and also, of course, the lack of grenade locked things. And normally the problem is Stomp for Horu, but of course both of our runners have Stomp. That was a very early progression, well, early, like half an hour into the seed, but early for this seed progression.
Now, glide is definitely very nice to have in Horu. Person does have lots and lots of jumps as well as multiple air dashes, so, you know, he's got a good skill set for being able to handle Horu with glideless. But, you know, if it does come down to the point where they're both just checking rooms, if Foopyo, like, chooses to check rooms in a lucky order and Person does it in an unlucky order and has some trouble glideless, still possible that Foopyo could get back into this, and we could see that legendary execution in the final escape.
I'm liking this reading so far from Person. Just quickly going off to one side, grab the teleporter, finds extra double jump at validation, decides to keep it. It's like, you know what? What is glide anyway? Well, why do I need glide when I have 4 whole jumps? is able to just like place that save in the middle, quickly go over and check the pickup on the left, and then reload straight into the position for door warp. Absolutely seamless there. And these are the sort of little root things that could absolutely be the sort of thing that the person needs to guarantee the victory here.
All right, so there are a total of 8 rooms in Horror here, all of which are quite difficult. They're sort of like individual challenge or puzzle rooms. With their current skill set, I think they should be able to do all of them no problem. It's just there's everything in here does so much damage. Now they do have ultra defense, but still like pretty low on the health cell count here. They're an hour into the seed, and I think they both have a max of 6 HP, which is just cruel by the seed generator here.
Yeah, and we're seeing it like in this section where it's like, oh, this is clearly built for charge jump. That extra double jump is actually going in clutch here. The person manages to stomp through a laser. It's certainly impressive to be able to do that. With Ori moving just too fast for Light to be able to keep up.
Goodness gracious. Person showing off some very flashy charge dashes through lasers. You have some invincibility frames right at the start up here and are able to just blast through these. Still had no sign of that water vein or of the grenade that we know is in here. You know, at this point, I'm just hoping that they're both like deep on the left side, so they end up being the last things they check. So we have to watch both of these runners do all of Horu.
Yeah, the person very much doing the I'm definitely inbounds going through lasers, as they are not walls. So it is perfectly allowed to just make your way through these non-solid lasers in this rule set, which is all good. Person knows this, making great use of it, and is continuing on. No water vein, no grenade so far. Grenade would certainly be a nice thing to find. Is absolutely not what is being looked for here.
Looks like a person is choosing to kind of like work from the bottom of Horu up to the top, doing both the right and the left sides from low down up to high, rather than doing like all of the right side and then all of the left side or something to that effect. If that ends up being like an inefficient path, could definitely put Foopyo back into this, because Foopyo has all 10 of his trees now and a better skill set and is headed to Mount Horu. There's definitely like, you know, there's a world where Foopyo like just goes up and checks R1 first, and that's exactly where it is, and suddenly he sneaks this win right out from under person's shoes here.
We see Foopyo is gone for the grotto teleporter instead of the swamp teleporter, maybe indicating that once search for things now is in fact heading over to Horror Fields. We just went for the road. And there we go. The person has grabbed the grenade.
Oh, correction. Chat is pointing out that I said all 10 trees. They have the 9 trees available to them, not the 10th that they still need to get inside of the Ginso tree.
I guess somewhat right. Sign's kind of like a tree, you know? It's just like stuck in a tree or something. And part of a tree. Half a tree.
All right, despite the fact that we are both in Horu now, Foopyo is going to need to luck out and find this water vein pretty quickly, because person has checked a lot of Horu here. There's not that many rooms remaining. Foopyo's glide is going to help a little bit, but not that much as far as actually going faster. It's mostly just a comfort thing.
Is person going to do the skip on the cutscene? No, is deciding to have a nice break. Watch some lore. Obviously very calming and relaxing lore, and no fiery burning disasters here. But these are little things that could give Foopyo a chance, but of course Foopyo just has so much of Horu to clean out, and it looks like Foopyo is in fact going for the same route as person went through for here.
At least at the start. Once he's cleared out sort of the bottom areas, we'll see what he decides to do after that. God, and still no water vein. Is it going to come down to like the last pickup in Horu before they finally find this? This is I'm so glad that I got to be in as part of this seed because this has been just like torture and a joy to watch here. Still no water vein. My goodness.
With this seed desperately wants as much showtime as it can possibly get hold of. Here trying to drag this on as long as possible, but we are grateful for it. Of course, we are loving the extra time we get here with our runners showing off with their movement, their planning from all of these different areas and different skill sets and trying to keep track of the logic, and they've done honestly a brilliant job of doing so. And Foopyo is going for this pretty precise double jump, double bash through here. Manages to sneak on through those spikes to get to the big rock much earlier, which is a nice little time save there.
Yeah, and you can see these little time saves starting to mount up here and there, but unfortunately it seems like Foopyo is doing largely the same route through the rooms here, which the deficit is just a little bit too large for him to be able to make this up if he's doing the same routing, I think. So hopefully he makes a little deviation here, but we will see shortly. Now, Person is getting a little bit blocked by trying to skip through these lasers here. This is a tough trick. Foopyo has to hope that this takes Person quite a while.
This is in fact possible to do. There's a few ways that you can go about doing this, but there is of course the many variants upon the much more casual route that the person has decided, you know what, I've spent enough time on this, sensible choice to try and go down. Manages to take a death and decides to go back to the lasers and is going back to the casual route. We'll see. These is the sort of things that Foopyo really needs to keep happening, but it's gonna take a lot of them. It's gonna take a lot.
This room is just giving Person so much trouble here. Definitely understandable. I'm gonna be completely honest. I still don't understand what the intended route through this room is. I've never known it. I've always just done the like speedy way through with charge jump. So I don't blame Person at all for having any struggles here.
I too have no idea, but I believe Person has just shown off what I believe is the casual way to do it. There we go. The full casual way Person manages to show off. The 2 XP from Foopyo. We've had the 3 XP. We've had the 2 XP. Have we had the 1 XP? I feel like we probably
don't
have.
Remember for sure. Maybe. All right, we are running out of rooms to check. There's not a whole lot left to go. Foopyo is going through these rooms real quick. Definitely has to hope that this goes longer and longer, and that these like small little advantages from glide and from like maybe some very slightly better execution here and there, and then some stuff like Person taking a while on that last room. If those things add up enough, then Foopyo could get back into this here potentially.
Yeah, I have to draw attention to how much I love this strat from Person. This room, of course, what you're normally supposed to do, is supposed to bash around, clearing out all the elementals, but you can in fact just repeatedly run back and forth and beat up the same elemental over and over again, and that will in fact open the door. It just needs to count the amount of elementals and not that all of them actually need to go, which is a great strat. Love the showing off of knowledge there from Person. It is in fact quite a bit faster, which is wonderful. What exactly sort of things that Person wants to be able to do here?
Foopyo also watching this cutscene. That was one potential area of making time back up. Unfortunately, not going to be collecting that here. Now, we've mostly run out of pickups left to check here in Horu. Person has to be getting close to that water vein here shortly.
Yeah, and we see Person is getting a little bit bullied by this laser here. Is refusing to actually break the floor. There we go. It took 2 rotations for the laser to remember what its job was. To actually break it.
Energy cell, my goodness.
It's still not the water vein. Oh, where is it? Is it? Did we accidentally generate a seed with the forgot to place the water vein, or is Is it just this the very, very last pickup that they check here? Is that what we're looking for?
This seed definitely is going to be going in the Tournament Hall of Fame as all-time worst seeds, I think. Oh, and a nasty little death from person there. Oh, that's a big death too. That sent it pretty far back there.
The elemental just perfectly could not have aimed that shot better. Was not aiming for person. Was in fact aiming for the floor. Manages to destroy it. Is creating some right disasters. Person's just gonna keep on going through this. Normally you'd be expected to be doing some climb charge jumps here, but of course Bash Grenade is here to save the day. And we'll be checking one of the last pickups. There's how many more are there even left? I'm losing track.
Hey, I honestly have lost count. There's not much left. This is basically been everything. And an ability
But it's not
cell.
this one. That's what we do now.
There's just R3 left according to the truck. Oh my goodness, they literally checked it's in the last room they're checking. This is incredible.
Oh, person going for an alt-R instead. Going back out.
Interesting choice. I guess they just think that this is a better way to approach it from, rather than coming out from the way they were in. Seems pretty reasonable. You just get to rocket jump off of that Baneling there quite easily.
And I believe this is the true most annoying horror room, the infamous elevator. Got a plant in here, and we've got a pickup at the top. Got to go through this extremely long, slow elevator. At least we have climb, so we can stick to it. I just have to wait for it to make its way all the way up to the top.
Right, don't jump into the lasers, person. That is an instant kill. Okay, let's hope that it's on the plant, just so that it's the true last pickup in here.
It may as well be at this point. I feel like it would be an insult to this own seed for it to not be on the plant.
Alright, just gonna push this down to block the lava. This will do a short little cutscene here, and then we get to check our last. There it is!
Oh,
okay.
It's
Not the literal last pickup, but it is right next to it. What a seed. Absolutely incredible.
There we go, and person is heading to the end. This teleports to the swamp. I maybe forgets about horror TP, or maybe it's just a misclick, but too much muscle memory there. No, it's seemingly forgotten about the horror TP. Understand? Oh no, of course I'm the one making the mistake here. They of course still need the to go to Bash Tree here.
I was actually thinking maybe Foopyo's best way back into this at this point would be person forgetting that they still needed to do the Bash Tree and like going to the final escape and then not being able to get into it and then having to go to Ginso, because that would have been a decent amount of time lost there.
But don't worry, I've got them covered. I'm making the mistakes for them. Yeah, so they don't have to.
They've got to be just like completely brain frazzled at this point after playing through a seed this horrible. I mean, for runners of this caliber, a seed being like an hour 15, hour and 20 minutes is, something very bad must have happened.
Yeah, and it's not as if, like, usually if a seed's like going on this long, it's like maybe the runners have had some bad deaths, or maybe they got like just ended up skipping one pickup and it was something critical. But no, it's just this seed was made for one thing, and that one thing is for it to be as long and painful as possible, and there to be very few ways to be able to skip ahead, besides of course the iceless, which I'm glad that neither of our runners did, as that would have made this race far less close.
Yeah, that if one of these runners had been crazy enough to actually do iceless, that would have pretty much been an instant win to the runner who pulled it off there. All right, so Foopyo has caught up a pretty significant amount of time here. Gonna be very, very unlikely that he's actually able to pull out a win here because Person has a good skill set for the final escape, just has to clutch out that very last little bit. Whereas Foopyo still has to go do Ginso and do the final escape as well. So probably going to be a win for Person here unless something really, really horrible happens. That said, crazy things do happen every now and then.
Person going for the door warp. We get it first try again. Does get it nice and clean, not allowing any opportunity for Foopyo to catch up here. Is going to go for the final escape. Very reasonable skill set to do this with. Shouldn't have too many problems. Every single room has a pretty good way to get through. Has ultra defense. At this point, actually has enough health, so it should be very doable. But of course, when you've been playing a tournament race this long, you can certainly have the fatigue be getting to you, but it does not look like that's going to happen for Person. As Person zooms on through the last couple rooms, zigzagging down, stomp into the water to minimize the time spent in the water. He's going to take the fish. There's no grenade jumps, so may as well go for that last bit of style. And Person crosses the finish line.
All right, going to be coming in with like a mid 114, which you'd certainly think that was a shard seed given that time, but nope, it was actually Clue's Force Trees, and a legendary seed that it was. Glad to see our runners managed to make it through here. Should be seeing Foopyo come along a few minutes after, but yeah, GG to both of these runners for sure. Glad we got to watch them try to puzzle this one out.
Absolutely, what a great seed to watch. What a great seed to do everything but maybe play. So all of us get to do the things that aren't actually playing this seed. Though maybe the second half of this seed was something that runners very much enjoyed with the dash, the double jump, the stomp movement.
Foopyo alt-Ring after getting to his 10th and final tree. Just has to push on to the end. I'm curious if either of them are watching the racetime.gg window to see if the other one has finished yet. Person is just about to cross over here, and Foopyo will see it prior to that. But if you've got the window open and it's like an hour and 15 minutes in and you still haven't seen anybody finish, that's going to be quite surprising.
It's got to be especially painful for Foopyo as he doing the door warp. By the time he's basically starting the final escape, Person is just about finished. What a very close race here. We just have Foopyo left with a very similar escape to Person, except of course has Glide, which will make it slightly easier, though it might not even matter if he goes for the fish strats.
All right, looks like we have Person ready to be pulled in for a little interview post-race here. Let's definitely try and get their thoughts on this particular seed. Person, my first question for you is, I'm sorry.
Hello.
That was a heck of a seed. How are you feeling right now?
I'm just feeling glad that it's over. It was a pretty bad seed. I was pretty annoyed how I can't find anything, but managed to somehow still finish it and win. So pretty happy about that.
Yeah, and it was an incredibly close race throughout the whole race. And Foopyo just barely, Foopyo's managed to cross the finish line just now, so both of you very, very close, neck and neck for pretty much the whole race there. So when you're in like a seed like this and you're getting extremely starved on options left, what goes through your head of trying to think what areas should I check? Do you have certain areas that you're a big fan of checking first? Like if the fall-on TP shows up, are you like, yes, that's an area that I love to check? Or
Well, when I first found that follow-on TP, I had 2 energy cells, and I was debating whether I should just go there, find a third one, and energy door glitch, because going the long way, it's just so boring. And I didn't find anything too, which is the funny part. Usually when there's like only one-off pickups left, um, I usually think I just got handled or something. But I guess I tried to follow the logic, and after getting stomped, I went back to that stomp, um, the dash pickup in swamp, because stomp unlocks that. So I was a bit like hesitant at many places. Like you could have seen me teleporting back and forth around many times, but it's just following the logic and what pickup gives you the next available other pickups that you could check.
And we actually have Foopyo here as well, in for an interview post seed. Foopyo, GG, and so sorry you had to deal with that seed. How are you feeling right now?
I'm feeling really bad. I want to know who I should blame for this.
Well, so I know that seed must have been absolutely miserable to play, but it was a joy to watch. So hopefully when you watch it back, it's not quite so painful to see again. But so Foopyo, kind of the same question to you as we asked person there. When you're dealing with a seed like this that is just not cooperating and like you're just getting blocked at every turn, what is your sort of mental process like for, okay, how do I calm down and decide where to go next?
I don't really have anything to do, any advice for this. What I try to do is I try to take the longest pickup I can think of, and while I'm doing this, I'm trying to remember what pickups is left in logic. That's why I did the Fallen Escape, for example, because it was giving me the grenade hint, which would maybe allow me to check the more pickups. And when I was playing this seed, I was like, yeah, the next progression is grenade. We are just going to gonna check every one off for the rest of the seed. But yeah.
Okay, question for you, person. We saw you going into sorrow with your skill set, and you ended up having a little bit of trouble before managing to pull off the boulder strats. Is that a strat that you have practiced and ready to go with the boulder strats, or was that I don't know if I have enough resources to zombie or whatever to be able to get through there, and you having to go for a quick backup?
Yeah, so my original plan was I wanted to rocket jump off of the green frog and then just do the spike cave like that because I have enough points to zombie. But then I saved two at the bottom and I didn't have enough energy. So then I was wondering if I could actually do the zombie with only double jump because we had no verticality. But no, the boulder strat was just the backup one. I haven't really practiced it too much, but I'm decent at double bashing, so it worked out, luckily.
Well, extremely well executed on your part there. So I don't want to take too long in interviews here because we actually have another race going on right now. But one last question for Foopyo, and person, you can weigh in on this as well if you want. This seed had like a lot of Horu in it, basically all of Horu minus one single pickup for both of you. Is Horu an area you have much practice with, or is that like something where it doesn't show up in seeds very often, so it's like I don't really care to ever go in there, and I just don't want to deal with it.
You want to go first, person?
You could go first.
Okay, so personally, I have a bit of practice with Horu. I played both all dungeon and any percent selected restriction, and in both categories you have to go through Horu, and it's actually my favorite part of the game. It's such a shame that we have the warp which makes us just skip all of Horu in every category.
And
person, what about you?
I guess for me, all of my Horu practices is when I see that water rain in Horu and Random. And generally people were talking about like the optimal strat to clear Horu, which is like check the bottom and then like go to the top and stuff. I guess it just didn't really work out to seed, so that's just random.
All right, very good. So upcoming matches, Person is going to be versus Dedu next, and Foopyo is going against Turtle. Going to be very excited to see both of those matches. That said, let's get ourselves over to the other channel so we can watch the race going on right now. Matter Monkey versus Oshi over on Speed Gaming 2. I have been Roos SR, and Matt, thank you so much for commentating with me.
Yeah, thank you everyone who helped out with this match. We had Griffs on restreaming, we had Banish and Guard doing tracking for us, and of course, none of this would be possible without our tournament organizers. And there we go. We should head on over.
All right, see everybody there. Thank you.